What would you do if the market crashed tomorrow and everything you'd built was on the line? In this episode, former Pearland Mayor Kevin Cole shares how he survived the 2008 housing collapse while others lost everything. He reveals how a connection to Bill Gates helped shape one of the largest master plan communities in the Houston area, and why one of the most important leadership skills is simply learning to listen. This is a conversation you don't want to miss. Welcome to Business on the Run with Mark Andersen. I have a special guest with me today. He is a business owner, the former mayor of Pearland, Texas. He is a father, a husband, father, and grandfather.
Right.
And you've been in the city of Pearland for, I want to say, over 20 years?
I've actually lived here as of June 1, 49 years.
Oh, my goodness.
49 years. So it's been a long time. Moved here in 1977 with my mom and dad, and it's never looked back. Kind of crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So tell me, you've got, we were chatting a little before
Yeah.
we started the show. You've got an amazing story. We've already had some incredible conversations. I would love to know just kind of like your story from, early adulthood up to where you are today.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I was born in, I'll just kind of go back and because it leads up to it. So I was born in Lubbock, Texas, and my dad got transferred to Houston. I've got three older brothers, and they were much older than me, actually. And so when we moved to Houston, I was the only one that moved. Okay? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people around here thought I was an only child, even though I wasn't. Went to Pearland High School, graduated in 1983, and then my wife graduated in 87 and went back to tech. It was the only place I really wanted to go to school because I grew up there, and kind of the rest is history. After graduating, got a job back here in the Houston market and started my career, started our family, and somewhere along the way, kind of got the political bug. I always tell people, I think if you're in it for the right reason, you're called to it. Mm-hmm. If you're not in it for the right reason, you got to check that calling. Really felt like I was called into, just like people are called into public ministry, felt like I was called into public service, and so gave it everything that we can.
Cool. So tell me, I want to definitely cover some of the political stuff with you, but to me, you've got a fascinating business story as well, right? So tell us a little about what you've done, more about your professional and business life.
Yeah, so even though I've been in the insurance business, I've been in retail, I've been, those types of things, but really and truly the last 26, 27 years, I've really been focused on real estate development. I do single family real estate. I don't build commercial. I don't build individual homes. I don't go vertical on anything that we do. We do all the horizontal. So we'll buy a piece of land, we put in the water sewer, streets, drainage, all those kind of things, and then we sell lots to builders. And it's been an amazing time. So in fact, I just put together a brand new website and kind of getting it all, done up. And so I updated some numbers, and it even kind of surprised me and shocked me. But over that career, been involved with a little over 9,800 residential lots.
Oh my! In
the greater Houston market that would have a capital investment value of approaching $4 billion.
That's amazing.
And so, I haven't updated it in a while. So then when I updated it, I was I was amazed.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
At the number. And it's making a home for place, making something special, because people are going to anchor their lives around their home.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, sure.
And that's just normal. And so I take a lot of pride in what we go in and we build. Not every subdivision is the same. Not every subdivision is the same market. You have starter subdivisions, you have high-end subdivisions, you have, move-up markets and all those kind of things. And every single one of those, you look at it as though I lived there. Mm-hmm. What would I want?
Yeah.
How would I want to do it? And so I think when you take the personal care along the way, and it just turns out better. And I want to be able to drive by, years later and say, I had a hand in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. So what do you feel like are some of the biggest challenges and obstacles that you faced in your professional career?
Well, it's just like anything else. One of the biggest obstacles in the real estate industry, I survived the 2008 market crash. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, that rocked a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the industry that filed bankruptcy. A lot of people in the industry lost everything that they had. And I was fortunate I did. A lot of people were over leveraged. Mm-hmm. And when everything went south and you weren't selling lots, banks were still wanting their money.
Sure.
You know. And so that was a huge obstacle that we had to survive through and literally survive. It was 2 or 3 years to get through that. So imagine really no income for a few years.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to go through. The other thing is just learning and understanding finance. It's sometimes I think as a developer, like we like to build something and bring it out of the ground. We really have our hand in finance.
Yeah.
That's really more of what we do than actually building something. It's just we're dealing with banks, we're dealing with equity, we're dealing with not just lenders but investors too.
Sure.
And how does everybody get happy?
Structure,
and all that stuff. Yeah, all that. So those are all challenges to every single deal.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it is. And I don't know. To me, it's one of the biggest shortcomings that small business owners have is that they're not involved enough in the finance side of things.
Right.
I mean, that is, you were obviously well versed in it, in some of the structure that you were talking about earlier, and it's amazing stuff. How about some of your biggest successes?
Well, from a
business perspective, not necessarily. I guess I want to kind of look at it from two perspectives, right? Kind of your business career, and then we can look at the political side in a bit.
Sometimes the smallest deals are the biggest success because there was no problems to them. But I will say the largest project that I was involved in and have been involved in was Meridiana, which is right down the road. So we were actually the original developers of that. We put it all together. We put all the land together. I want to say 28 to 30 different tracts of land brought together to create what is now Meridiana. It was called Seven Oaks at the time, and then the crash happened. And then shortly after the crash, we were able to sell our interest out. The Rise Development guys had taken it and made it what it is. And so it's real fun to drive through there and see literally the plans. A lot of the plans we brought to the table are on the ground today.
Sure.
So that's always a fun thing to do. But to watch literally a community like that come out of the ground that you had a hand in is probably the highlight of the year, of all the different years. Over 5,500 residential lots, and people are staking their lives there.
Yeah. So let's go back to the crash for a minute, because you talked about the fact that a number of many business owners, they just went out of business as a result in the real estate business. What was it about your business that helped survive? Were you holding more cash than maybe some others, or how did you weather that storm?
Yeah. So the investors that we had at the time, the different projects that we had in. Now Meridiana, it was done with cash, and I'm past my NDA, so I can actually mention the original cash in that project in the early days was actually Bill Gates.
Oh, okay.
It was an amazing story how we got hooked into the Gates financial network and everything else and all of that. But all of the projects that we were doing at that particular time, and there was 4 or 5 of them that were happening around the Houston area, none of them were leveraged.
Okay.
None of them were leveraged. So we had the ability to sit if we needed to without the banks calling. And that's how we were able to survive those.
Wow, that's unusual.
Our investors were well heeled, and in fact, one of our investors on some of those projects was our introduction to the Gates Financial Network, and he wanted to do some of his own projects, so we just did smaller ones.
Okay. So what is some of the advice that you might have for small business owners out there?
Well, plan for the inevitable.
Yeah.
Whatever the inevitable is. You always want to plan for the success and the great stuff, but you have to be thinking about
the downside.
What if there's dark clouds? What if World War III happens tomorrow? all of those kind of things. And so we have plans, even with how we do things in the development industry, that plan for that. Because our projects may not, they're not a year in and a year out.
Right.
They're
be long term.
They may be 3 to 5 to 8 to 10 years. Like Meridiana, these large master plan communities could be 20 years. So you have to plan that there will be a downturn. So how do you plan for that? What do you do? And so I'll give you an example. So if I do a project, let's say it's just a 100-acre project, and I'm going to source and know who my builder is before we ever start.
Yeah.
I'm going to have them as a partner at the table. We learned through the crash, and then we've learned through COVID. We've learned some other stuff.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm going to put them under a contract. Typically, the earnest money contract back in the day was $500 a lot. Well, let's say they've got $50,000 on the table in earnest money. If there's dark clouds on the horizon, Lennar, D.R. Horton, all those guys, they'll walk away from 50 in a heart.
Sure.
Okay? But instead, we'll get them on the hook for earnest money upwards of $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.5 million. They're not walking.
They're a little more committed.
Well, so what we've done there is we've brought them in as a partner, and they're not going to walk away from it. So if dark clouds hit, then they know the development industry as well. So you just have that many more people help rowing the boat, getting through it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the interesting things about Bill Gates. You were talking about, going through the downside. He is, or when he was, heavily involved in Microsoft, I mean, he was like one of the most pessimistic guys in the boardroom, right?
What about this and everybody?
Yeah. Nobody's thinking everything's great. Why are we worried about the doom and gloom, right? Yeah. But you've got to think about it.
You have to.
I know for me, I lost a number of clients during COVID because, hey, they didn't qualify for the COVID stuff through the SBA or whatever.
Right.
Or they just spent too much of it, or they were irresponsible with it, or, whatever. But it's you've got to think about the downside.
So like with COVID, nobody expected the worldwide pandemic, right? And so it goes back to contract. We learned this the hard way. And that is, you've got a price for a lot, and now all of a sudden COVID happens, and what happened? Inflation blew up. Well, I've got a lot price.
Yeah.
I'm losing money. And you got a builder going, I'm going to force you to hold it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So now contracts get written that there's a plus or minus 10%, 15%. That's built into the contracts that have X, Y, and Z happen. We're able to go up on price, and they can obviously drop it. But, it's just one of those things you live and learn through the different things that go on. And so any small business owner out there, if you're getting into business or you've been in business 2, 3, 4 years, and plan for the inevitable, have something where you can pivot, and learn how to pivot.
Yeah. That's super important. So let's change gears a little bit and talk about your politics, your political role. I mean, you were mayor for 6 years.
6 years,
right? So tell us how that that whole ball started rolling. I'm always interested in how did someone even decide to run for office, right?
Yeah. So again, I said earlier, I think the people who do it the right way, there's a calling on their life to be involved, because otherwise you would not put yourself through
the torture
of literally what happens behind the scenes, social media and the like. I mean, it's a rough sport, if you will. It's tough on your family because they see the comments. It's easier on the candidate or the office holder because you grow a little bit of a thick skin and you get through it. But I go all the way back to the early 90s. There were some things happening at City Hall that just didn't like and got involved, in it. And as I say, felt the bug and the calling to it. Got involved, helped some people get elected. And keep in mind, I turned 30 years old in 94, and that same year I went on the Planning and Zoning Committee. And the next year I got elected to City Council in 95. I was still 30 years old, and at the time I was the youngest ever council member for the city of Pearland. A couple people have beaten me on that since then, Luke Orlando, and all those kind of things. But and then just stayed the course and stayed, being a council member I served for 3 years, and actually was defeated in 98. Came back in 2004, ran through two terms to 2010, and then here it is, the mayor's position's in front of me, and with the icon Tom Reed in front of us, there, and knew at some point he wouldn't be there forever.
Sure.
But it seemed like forever, right? And he and I had a great relationship, and it's one of those guys that I just positioned myself that if he's not mayor, who is? And had a guy consultant actually told me years ago, said, if people don't have him as mayor, who is? And you need to be one of 3 names that people mention. And just worked myself to be one of 3 names that people had. And so I knew he was coming up for re-election in 2020, and I knew he was knocking on the door, 94 years old and all those kind of things. And it was really weighing on him whether or not to run or not. And he made his decision in right around Thanksgiving that year of 19. And I remember meeting with him at his house. I wrote him a letter, talked to him about running, and wanted to continue the efforts that he had going right here at the city. And so from that day forward, we never looked back. The rest is history.
That's pretty cool. So what role, I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this question, but in terms of like your political career, even down to the zoning, what was the first
zoning,
one? Planning and Zoning Committee. How, I'm assuming that has had an impact on small business in our community here in Pearland. Can you tell me a little bit about not just that committee, but really how your political life has impacted small business owners in our community?
Yeah, so obviously, let's just start with zoning by itself. And so the city of Pearland itself, the voters approved zoning in the late 70s. And so they said, we want to be planned, we want to be zoned, we want to have all those kind of things in our community. And I will say there's private property rights, and then there's zoning, right? Where we're going to dictate what happens with private property.
Sure.
So in my own belief that there's a clash that happens there. And so I always tell people that the best that we can do is we can't go too far either direction.
Yeah.
Because if you go too far one way, it is literally the wild, wild west, and things happen, and it's not necessarily planned, and it's good for your community. The other hand, you're putting such strenuous rules on people that you can't.
Yeah.
It's somewhere you got to be in a happy medium. And so I've always taken the approach of a market-based approach. If a certain piece of property keeps coming in for zone change after zone change after zone change from its current, that should be a clue that the market is saying it's not this, it's this.
Yeah.
And so we need to be looking at those kind of things. And so that's the way I've always treated in my elected office. That at the same time, we do have codes, we do have permitting, we do have all that. Remember, we live on a Gulf Coast. So we want to make sure things are built a certain way, because the inevitable will happen.
Yeah.
There's all those there's flooding. What are we doing to mitigate that? All of those rules and regulations. Now, the key is, as an elected official, is what does that bureaucracy look like? And are we adding this much cost or this much cost to a development as a result of the rules? And so in a perfect world, we're bringing that down to where it's minimal.
Yeah.
But it's good development. It's development that will last. It's development that the community can benefit from. And we don't really talk about it at the dais with city council in that turn, but there is a conversation that ongoing a lot about how does this impact business? How does this impact small business? How does it impact big business?
Sure.
I mean, we lowered Kirby area, and some of that development that's going on over there is certainly not necessarily small business, but it's going to have an impact in bringing jobs. And so we want to make sure that we're streamlining things to help bring business into the city, and businesses that are here make their lives a little bit easier if they're wanting to do something. And there's a fine line in all of that. Yeah.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, and taking the takeaway I'm getting there, the takeaway I'm sort of getting there is that your experience as a business owner has also helped you in terms of the political side, because you know what it's like to be a business owner and how government can impact you, and being on both sides of that fence has probably been a huge benefit. So when it comes to those that are getting involved in politics, I'm assuming there's probably a little bit of a downside when they don't have some sort of business experience, because they don't understand that, I'm assuming.
It can be.
Yeah.
Can
I mean,
be.
at least, and I'm kind of, maybe I'm tipping my hand a little bit politically, because I feel like I see it on so many levels, especially at the federal level, where I just disagree with the politics for a lot of the people that aren't involved in business.
Right.
So, and it's also discouraging, I think, because these business owners, they could be out making money with their business rather than getting involved in public service.
Right. I think you have to look at it all the way around. There's a lot of public officials, elected officials, and even just constituents and people in our community that just believe that the only people we should be listening to are the voters and the people that live here. Mm-hmm. Well, at the end of the day, you might own a business in town but not live in town, so you don't vote.
Yeah.
But you're paying taxes in town, and it all contributes to what we're doing. So I think the public officials that listen to all of that, and you put it in a big pot, and you got to figure out that something beautiful will come out of it at the other end. But having the personal side of things, of understanding and knowing what it takes to go through this gauntlet of permitting and everything else, certainly helps structure, the process. And so you have to put yourself in their shoes often. I will say, the city council that's sitting on the dais right now, every one of them are a business owner.
Yeah.
Every one of them. So they understand the business side of things. And they're all residents and taxpayers and those types of things. So there's probably been more conversation about our Unified Development Code and business owners and small business owners in the last 6 months than we've had in a long time, because of the current makeup of council.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I really enjoy about you, Kevin, is that every single day, it seems, you are posting a Bible verse. Mm-hmm. You're a man of faith. So tell us a little bit about what that's like for you, and what that means from not only with really in kind of both realms, right? The business realm as well as the political one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I started that as a personal challenge about 14 years ago. I had to go back and think about it. About 14 years ago now. And I did it for me.
Yeah.
I like to say I did it for everybody, but I did it for me. And it's real simple. There's Bible apps out there for everybody, so it's not rocket science. There's a verse of the day, and you see it, and I go ahead and put it up. And the reason I put it up and show it is it's an accountability. It's an accountability to me. Mm-hmm. And where, as a brother, as a sister in Christ, people can point and go, "Are you really living that?" Mm-hmm. And you go, "Yeah, oh me, I'm not."
Yeah.
But that's why it's there, right? Because we're not perfect.
Yeah.
We're sinners, and we do things wrong. But in spite of that, God still loves us, and He still instructs us, and He still moves us. And so I put that up there to live by and see it. It's verse by verse. You don't have to go read a whole book in the Bible on a daily basis to get something. You can read a verse. What's interesting, Mark, is over the last 14 years, I can go back in my history and say, okay, here's a rough spot. And if I was looking and I go back the previous week or the previous month, He was preparing me for that. Mm-hmm. Almost without exception. here's scripture after scripture after scripture that pointed to this.
Yeah.
You just don't know it at the time, right?
Sure.
You're looking at this going, okay, I don't know what this means. In a week, you go, now I know what it meant.
Yeah. It's funny how that works out, isn't it?
Yeah. So but it's really funny how it has blessed other people.
Yeah.
I get comments all the time. Your daily scriptures mean a lot.
Yeah.
And of course, and I always tell them, I'm selfish. I put it up there to hold me accountable. That I'm glad, because that's how God's word works. Just about anybody can get something out.
I totally agree with you on that one. What are some of your what are some of your favorite Bible verses?
Oh gosh, you put me on the spot to do it. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Philippians 4:13 is probably the anchor of all anchors, because we have struggles in life, and you go, I know it's tough. But we talked about the market crash, but these are tough days, but He gives us the strength to move on day by day. And so it's probably my ultimate favorite right there, because it's so applicable to just about anybody in any circumstance.
Yeah. I'll since I asked you one, I'll tell you the one I think my favorite is probably the one. I don't remember the chapter and verse, but the armor of God.
Yep.
One is the one that really kind of
put on the daily armor.
Yeah. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, tell us a little about your family.
Yeah. So my wife and I have been married in this coming up December 39 years. We have 4 adult children. It's kind of hard to believe that my baby girl is 30. So just you haven't lived till you have kids in their 30s, right?
You never stop being a parent.
You never stop being a parent. They all live right here in Pearland. They all live within about 4.5 miles of the house. And between them, we have 13 grandchildren, and another one on the way. Number 14 will be here in November. And of that 14, we do have one that we lost back in 2020. No, 19 or 20. Baby Cade, he was in utero. We lost him, and it was tough for my daughter-in-law and son to go through that. She had to actually give birth to him, and that just the pain of going through that. But it's like anything else. We celebrating his birthday is 10/10 every year, October the 10th, and we celebrate Cade every year, and because he's a part of our life, and so it's so that's all part of it. I've had people. I've seen pictures and I only see 12. There's a reason.
Yeah.
And again, they range in ages from 14, which we received by marriage, and my son actually adopted her legally.
Okay.
And so she's 15, and all the way down to our youngest is 2, and then obviously we'll have a baby here in a few months, and then everything in between. So there was a point in time where my wife can give you the exact dates. I want to say it was 4 or maybe 5 years where there was literally during the calendar year somebody was pregnant.
Wow.
Just all the way down. So we have several of them that are, anywhere from 6 to 8 months apart. Mm-hmm. We have 2 that they're a month apart. Those types of things all the way through. Every month in the calendar has a birthday in it. So that's just our house.
Quite the family tree.
Quite the family tree. But I will say we're close. Our kids are close. And I would say to any parent that's out there that if you've got teenagers, there is life after teenagers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? There is life after teenagers. You might not think that today they actually love each other.
Or love you.
Or love us. But just hang on, because there's a day and time coming where they will not only be close, but they'll be best friends, and they'll live life together and all those kind of things. So we're big about family. It's funny, my wife and I built a pool, and after our kids were grown and out of high school, and they're all like, why are you building the pool now? Why,
Yeah.
And this was a direct quote. I said, well, there's a day and time coming where we have grandkids, and we want a place for the grandkids to come and have fun, not you so much.
Yeah.
But we want a place where they can come and gather and be safe, and and we can have family together. And so literally in the summers, we have Sunday Fun Day every week. So we start at Memorial Day, end at Labor Day. The pool's open, and it's cousin time.
Yeah.
And they come, and just about every Sunday, almost all of them are there. They still have lives to go and do and all that. And but it's fun to see they literally come and have fun with their cousins. I like to tell people and ask this question: how many of you, your first best friend in life was a cousin?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have that. And you look forward to going to the aunt and uncle's house or the grandparents' house or whatever to see your cousins.
Mm-hmm.
And less show of hands, first time you got in trouble, it was with your cousin, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's just life growing up. And so we're watching our kids, because they're so close to living here, they're growing up together and living life together, and they're having a great time together. And so we think we're growing that strong family unit, that if something comes against us, that family will fold in together and weather a storm. You know? Yeah.
Well, I've got a funny story about the teenager thing.
Yeah.
And it's, my son got promoted to, I believe it was staff sergeant, probably a year or so ago now. He was in, no, it's been more than that, probably 2 years ago now. And the entire family went up, not my side of the family anyway.
Yeah.
Me, wife, brother, dad, all flew up.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the ceremony at their little base there, and went to dinner at not exactly a ton of restaurant options in Syracuse, New York.
Right.
But we went to Cheesecake Factory at like the local mall.
Yeah.
I stepped away to use the restroom, and I come back, and everybody's looking at me like funny, and I'm like, what did I do? Do I have toilet paper on my shoe or something, right? And what had happened was Eric was telling some stories about him being a kid, being a teenager, right? And he had said something along the lines of, I hated the fact that Dad was always right when I was a teenager. So
he finally admitted
it. It's like he was always right. So yes. Yeah, I didn't even realize he was listening. So thank goodness. So that was fun.
That's great.
But anyway, let's see. Oh, so we're kind of at time. What else? Is there anything else that you want me to ask you about? Or
I like to talk a little bit about leadership.
Oh, I love it.
Especially, I think best leaders, my leadership style is team. It's a team approach. As mayor, as a business owner, it's not just me. It's leading a whole organization. Yeah. It's leading a team. Especially if you go and look at a city with 950 employees, you don't do anything unless those employees are moving in the same direction.
Sure.
And so I think leaders that pattern themselves after putting a team together, team approach, and not taking yourself so seriously that you have to get all the glory and praise and everything else. Instead, it's the team.
Yeah.
It's a team effort. It's a team approach. I think you get further in life. I think you get further in your business. Same thing in my private business. It's a team approach. You have engineers. You have those types of people that are working with you, and they're very much a part of the project. But there's developers who treat them as just expendable. Mm-hmm. I just don't believe in that. I believe that they're a part of the project. They're a part of who we are. They're an extension of your organization, and it's all part of team. And I think the more you do that way, the better you're going to be in the long run. So if you got a small business, build your team.
Sure.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you employ them.
Right.
There's a big difference.
Oh, sure.
Big difference, But
you're still leading your vendors. It doesn't matter.
Your vendors are your team.
Yeah.
Because if you need something, who's going to get it done for you?
Yeah.
It's your vendor.
Yeah.
And so I think it's real important that you take a team approach. This is the way the approach that I've always taken. As mayor, I led a council, and there were difficult times. There were good times. But all in all, wanted to do team approach. Mm-hmm. Every elected official is duly elected. They have a right to speak, right to their opinion. I may not agree with it. Mm-hmm. That's okay. You're talking about politics, especially at the national level. You may not agree with somebody, but you're elected. You have a right to your voice.
Yeah.
And I think we need to listen to that. And I think, especially in politics, I've learned the hard way to listen twice as often as I speak, which is not easy to do for me because I love to talk. But sometimes you have to listen. As a business owner, listen before you speak.
Yeah.
So if you have an employee coming to you, don't jump in.
Yeah.
Let them talk.
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way, dealing with citizens. It's amazing. Sometimes just hush, let them talk, let citizens talk, let citizens speak, and it's amazing at what you hear.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're able to react or respond in a bright way. The other thing in leadership is put yourself in a position where you're not reactionary, but you're responsive.
Yeah.
Respond to problems, don't react.
Yeah.
Which means sometimes you got to take a big, deep breath.
Yeah. That's a great lesson. I know that, back in, I lived in Florida for a little while as a golf pro, and I was at one of the toughest country clubs there. And what I learned there about people was when they came in and they were upset and they were angry and they were yelling at me, the worst thing you could do was to jump in and cut them off or make them, that just made them even more angry.
Yeah.
And what I learned was just shut up, listen, and you know what? By the time they got done with their tirade, they're ready to apologize to you because
you were a sounding board.
You were willing to listen.
Yeah, you were a sounding board.
And that's just such incredible advice.
Yeah, there's frustration on people, and sometimes you just have to let them get their frustration.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they go, okay, I feel better. Do you feel better?
They just feel heard. They want to be. They want to be understood.
Want to be heard.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, Kevin, I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, well, Mark, it's been good. Your podcast is getting up and going and doing great things with it.
Oh, we can't stop without talking about your podcast.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about that.
I really wasn't meaning to promote it, but it's interesting. Talk of the Town podcast. I created Talk of the Town along with communications when I was at the city. It was my monthly Facebook Live event. And so leaving office, I asked them what they were going to do with it. And they said, well, it's not copyrighted. And I said, I'm going to take the name with me. And so created that. Our whole structure around it is to talk about the talk of the town. You walk into the coffee shop or you walk into the, the store at the corner and those types of things. You see a group of guys talking. What are they talking about?
Yeah.
It's the talk of the town. So we want to be talking about those types of things that are relevant in our lives. Not Pearland specific, even though we'll have a lot of content around Pearland. But we want to talk about, Friendswood, Alvin, Amble, Iowa Colony, what's going on in our county, what's going on in our state, what's going on in state legislature, because they have a lot of impact on our local lives. Really want to stay away from the national politics. I don't think anybody wins getting into that.
Yeah.
Unless you're Joe Rogan. He can go and talk about national politics, and I'll let him go do that.
Yeah.
But instead, we want to keep it local. It's really interesting. We have kind of a byline: local leaders, local stories, local impact.
Okay.
And that's really what we want to focus on.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, and I appreciate the great conversation. It was really really great. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Business on the Run with Mark Andersen. Don't forget you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Music. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.